that the next part? So today's talk is called, what's it say? Don't wait for the rain to stop, dance in the rain. Which is a tough one for me right now. I dance from the waist up. I looked up rain. Metaphysical definition of rain. Metaphysically, rain is an outpouring of spirit that constantly refreshes and enriches man's developing thoughts. The descent of potential ideas into substance. The rain that watereth the earth represents the love of God, which comes into mind when summoned and needed. Well, perhaps you'll rethink anytime you want to complain about the rain. If you think of it this way, how could you complain? I don't want God's love pouring down on me. No, you look at it metaphysically and say, what this represents is that I am being showered with love. I am being showered with wisdom. I am being showered in truth and wonder, health, the love of God. So then this came up, Bul, B-U-L. And it's the name of the 8th month of the Jewish sacred calendar and the 2nd month of the secular calendar. And it comes from a root meaning yield or produce and ran from mid-October to mid-November. You can see it in 1 Kings, I'm sure you know. Who can tell me what chapter and verse? See. But Bul, Hebrew, pouring forth copiously. Rain, produce, increase, abundance, change produced by rain. Metaphysically, in their inner spiritual meaning, months, days, and years do not refer to divisions of time, but to stages or degrees of unfoldment in consciousness and steps in demonstration. Bul refers to abundant increase of good, abundant supply, prosperity as the result of a generous outpouring of the Holy Spirit, or of truth, capital T, truth, into the consciousness, pouring forth copiously. This Holy Spirit baptism, with its quickening, illumining power, comes to mankind whenever he reaches the degree, he or she, of mental and spiritual unfoldment, wherein he or she is ready for it. Now, many might say, I'm ready. I am so ready for that abundance. And I know we think we are. But we're still looking at all the faults of the world around us. We're still looking at the potholes in the road and complaining. We're still looking at what's wrong with our body, what's wrong with our age, what's wrong. We're committed, really. We're really rather committed to what's wrong. As if that's going to somehow find the way to what's right. I've done it. I am so smart, I know what's wrong with everything and everyone. Boy, I am a genius. But to begin to see spirit in yourself, to look in the mirror and say, I am willing to recognize spirit in this, just as it is. Spirit, truth, honesty, wisdom, love in me, so that I would no longer be guilty because of what I see in the world. Here's a realization I came to many years ago. If I see bad, I must be bad. What? I can't recognize what I'm not. If I am one with all that is, and I insist on seeing bad, it's because I have guilt for the bad that I am. Now I get it, we have preferences. But when I spot what I think is bad, to really go within in prayer and say, God, Spirit, law, principle, you know better than I do in my egoic state. What is this really? Is there good in this somewhere? Is there hope in this somewhere that I'm not recognizing? And so before I begin to spout my wisdom, my artificial wisdom, to myself, to my mate, to my friends, to the world at large, this is terrible, this is awful, pray first. Pray first. If you want to know this differently than the misery that you are proclaiming, I get it. I know what it's like to be afraid. I know very well what it's like to be afraid. I was so impressed this Friday night. David was picking us up at the airport from Britain myself. And man, for years, to pick me up at LaGuardia was a nerve-wracking event for myself and all those around me. And I just didn't care. This Friday, I didn't care. And LaGuardia is not easier now than it was a few years ago. And so I just didn't care. Some nice person helped get my luggage off the thing. Carousel, thank you. Big Broadway musical. Get that off of the carousel. People were kind to me. Even on the airplane, somebody got up and got my carry-on down. Very kind, very kind. And so while David was, poking along through the drive to get around with all the other cars, I called him again and I said, David, just want to let you know, I'm not upset. I'm not nervous. I'm not rattled. We'll get out of here when we get out of here. And he said, thank you for letting me know that. Because he knows what I've been like. My anxiety, all those people in the cars and who's going to hit our car and whose car might we hit and who's going to, all that stuff we make up in our head. All those heinous situations that keep us bound to our fear. They keep us from dancing in the rain. And so I got in the car. Everything was fine the whole way home. We took Britt into the city, up to Inwood, because I thought at that time, oh, so what? There won't be nearly as much traffic, and there wasn't. And so we did a mitzvah for our friend, and we drove home. He was so grateful that he didn't have to stand there and get a cab and lug his own luggage, because he's recovering from a hernia surgery from a few months ago. Everything just played out, and David and I had a lovely evening together. We went and got a health shake. Health bomb, it's called. It's delicious at the Darien Diner. It's blueberries, chia seeds, kale, almond milk, and yogurt. Oh my gosh, it's good. Oh my goodness. I tell you, without even trying, I'm down 17 pounds. Now see, the problem with announcing something like that is underlying it all is fat shaming.
Oh.
It is. It's fat shaming.
You're proud of it, though.
I'm grateful for it. I am grateful. A lot of it is because once I fell, I didn't have an appetite. So I would go and have a cup of chicken soup and one of those shakes multiple nights in a row. I don't want to fat shame anybody, because it's not my place to do that. And it's cruel, and it's unkind, and I don't know anybody's journey. I know my own, and I don't want to be ashamed of whatever I weigh anymore. Now I can wear a multi-chest shirt on video. But it fits, and I'm grateful. And it's easier on my knees, and it's easier. And so I do want to, but I don't want to do it because then I'll be good. If I drop the weight, then I'll be good. As if I am bad trying to become good. And this is what we all have to become accountable for. Let's quit making each other bad who ought to become good. Let's quit doing it to ourselves, and let's quit doing it to each other. And I don't just mean each other in this room. It's one humanity, many stories. I don't know why we do the things we do. I do know that so much of what I've witnessed in life and what I was taught to define in life has kept me from dancing in the rain because I was afraid of the rain. No, I'll get wet. Oh no, the rain will hurt me. The rain is bad. Sunshine is good. Ask a farmer if rain is good. I remember we were in Rome several years ago and it started to sprinkle. And David looked at me and said, you know, Shawn, walking like this doesn't get you less wet. It does. It was the same amount of water coming down on me. I've spent so much time afraid of my good. So much time. And that's why I don't want to use something like this to say I don't have good. I'm not going to say Yahoo, this happened. But I can tell you from a past that is somewhat wretched, that a lot of good has come from my past. A whole lot of good. And I know a lot of you here, and a lot of your wretchedness has produced a lot of current good once you decided to rethink it. Once you decided to relook at it. And it doesn't mean we are not going to falter. And it doesn't mean we're not going to fall short of the ideal. Kenneth just saying raindrops keep falling on my head, and that doesn't mean that, what is it? That doesn't mean the sky should be turning red. Yes, thank you. And who here as a kid just didn't want to take a bath? Bath time was bad. You know, well, I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to take a bath. I didn't know from relaxing in a hot tub. I didn't know from that it meant, I've got to get rid of this bad dirt. Dirt was bad. Rather than, you had fun. It was great that you got filthy. And now it's great that you're going to get clean before you get into your bed. And it's, and this is the next part of the journey, and this is how you can know God. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we had been taught as a child, this is how you can know the good of God. And this is how you can know the good of God. Welcome back, by the way. Nice haircut. This is how you can know the good of God. And this is how you can know that you are loved. And it's not conditional, Shawn. It's not conditional. God's not going to love you this day, but not love you if you don't take a bath. Imagine if we treated ourselves like that today. How often in a restaurant do you turn down dessert and say, I'm going to be good today? I want to claw the table when I hear people say that. It so rubs me the wrong way. When I hear spiritual people who study this stuff, oh, I'm going to be good today. It may be a euphemism, but it stinks. And it's harsh. Because if you're saying it there, you're saying it somewhere else, that I'm bad. Because does that mean if tomorrow you have dessert, you're bad? Does it mean you're less than a Christ being? We don't have to wait for it to stop raining anymore before we become good. We don't have to wait for it to stop whatever before we admit we are beloved children of God in exactly these conditions. Something I learned that surprised me, I don't know if I brought it up here 2 weeks ago, that surprised me in this fall. As I thought about the prayer for protection, it says the light of God surrounds us and the love of God enfolds us. And it says that the power of God protects us. And I thought, well, that doesn't mean it's our body. I fell down this week. And my body was not protected. And you could say, oh, it could have been worse. And yes, believe me, it could have been far worse. Nevertheless, I got hurt. So it's not about our bodies that are protected, but it's our spirit. It is my spirit. The power of God protects me, protects my spirit, so that I never have to forget what I am. That I never have to forget. Even if we've seen others forget who they are, we can remind them, perhaps in a subtle way, in a kind way. Don't go home today and say, Shawn says you're good. And how soon are you going to know it? I've seen people do that. I've had people not like me because of what others have used me as a weapon. Well, David and Shawn say, your daughter didn't like me. Lucy would go home. Well, David and Shawn say, and she had no use for me. Because her daughter would then see me behave very unspiritual at the dinner table. Oh, there was one day in Mexico. I was just in a mood. It was a few years ago. And I dropped something on a brand new pair of shorts. And I let loose with a word. Well, let's just say I was calling forth the Lord. And Kate saw this. I thought, my mother goes to his church? Why? She's saying that they're so good, they're so wise, they're spiritual, but here he is behaving like this. Because I was having a very human moment, and I forgot who I was that day. I just forgot. Can I forgive myself for forgetting? Because you see, if I can't forgive you for forgetting, I can't forgive myself for forgetting. And that's just what's so hard. People have been very kind to me through this. And a couple of weeks, it was like a week into this. David was away. And I almost said I hooked up with a guy, but that's not quite the right way to phrase this. I met with somebody I know from a fellowship at a diner. First time I got that shake. And this first time we had gotten together to talk. We liked each other from the fellowship. And so I got there first, and he came in, and he sat down, and he said, so how was your day, Shawn? And I started to cry. Because I felt so loved. I felt so embraced. And and throughout this, from the first night when the Collins took care of me, I mean, they raced to the house. Well, Bob did. Linda came later. Linda came at midnight to spend the night. And but people had been so kind. And it hurts my heart when I realize I am not used to that kind of kindness, where it's safe to reach out and say, I need help. Mm-hmm. And the right people show up to help me. And so to know, oh, that's part of dancing in the rain, is when you'll reach out for help. Because otherwise you're going to sit in your basement for another week and a half till David comes home. Because people do want to help. And people want to give back where they have been fed in many ways. Don't wait for the rain to stop. Go ahead and dance in the rain. You might need to wear a hat. I do, it hurts. That rain hurts a little in my head. But to look at the rain and say, oh, God's abundance flows in and through me now. To begin to change your prayers, to use the rain as a reminder there is no absence of light, there is no absence of love, there is an abundant presence of it. And then you go, so, Spirit, I need help thinking. I am willing to think differently here so that peace may prevail everywhere. So that, as I said, what if we all posted puppies and kittens on Facebook? And that's it. What if we didn't empower those we fear by saying, I'm afraid of you, and so I want to hurt you? That's what I did as a kid with my parents. I wanted to hurt them. I was so afraid of them. And then I began to hate myself, because hate manifests hate, but love manifests love. So I'm going to ask y'all this week, what do you want? What do you want as the active, prevalent thought in your mind? What do you want your vision to see? Because you have a choice. There are no definite rules on what something is. I look at that chair and I see comfy, and I see, and I kind of like the jewel tones, and I know the story, how they got them. But somebody else could come in and say, oh, I hate purple. And therefore they hate that chair, and they begin to hate themselves because they hate a chair. But what if it's just a chair? And you realize, oh, I have a residual thing about purple. Spirit, tell me what to think about that, because I don't want to hate purple anymore. I don't want to hate myself. I want to know true abundance of thinking, of feeling, and I want to know it in all my relationships, because it will set me free. And I am promised freedom. I was promised, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And so, next time it's raining, welcome it. Say, hello, rain. Thank you for today. I'm willing to love you. Spirit, show me how to love the rain. Show me how to love the wetness. Show me how to love the abundance raining down upon me now in ways I forgot were even possible. That's what's happening in this room today. Abundance is raining down upon us now in ways that we forgot were possible. And we're going to leave here today with new thoughts and new forgiveness and new peace and new joy and new harmony. And we're going to love ourselves so much. It's worth it. Thank you.